The left is saying constitutional crisis. The White House is saying there was no jurisdiction. They were over international waters.
We put in the title and everything that was President Trump declares this is war. That's a direct quote.
Criticism that the Alien Enemies Act has only been invoked 3 other times. They were all during times of war. Do you feel that you're using it appropriately right now?
Well, this is a time of war because Biden allowed millions of people, many of them criminals, many of them at the highest level. They emptied jails out. Other nations emptied their jails into the United States. That's an invasion. And these are criminals, many, many criminals, murderers, drug dealers at the highest level, drug lords, people from mental institutions. That's an invasion. They invaded our country. So this isn't, in that sense, this is war.
If you look at the history of the United States, if you go back to the late 1790s, the United States passed 4 laws collectively known as the Alien and Sedition Acts. Those acts essentially gave the president additional powers to imprison, to detain, and to deport enemies of the United States. And so if you look at our southern border, from the perspective of the Trump administration and from the perspective of many Americans, we have experienced an invasion of up to 15 to 20 million illegals, many of whom are criminals, coming across our border. Specifically in this particular case, a Venezuelan gang called Tren de Agua has been accused of engaging in criminal activity, including rape and other serious offenses. And the Trump administration has sought to challenge the authority of federal courts, and they've done so precisely in this case by basically putting together 2 plane loads of Venezuelans and shipping them off to El Salvador. And so the question becomes, does the president have the authority? And number 2, will the court attempt to issue an additional order requiring the president to bring these criminals back? That's the essence of the case.
A war in a different context, but Professor Hutchinson, I guess you can at least see where he's coming from, saying we're talking about drug dealers at the highest level. We're talking about drug lords, criminals, murderers. Sure, it's not the traditional sense of a war with another country, but in many ways, it has been an ongoing battle, really for the last, however long, but really for the last few years, as the fentanyl crisis has skyrocketed and all of this has happened, to now say we got to do something about it. So if you have to evoke certain rules, they're there for a reason.
I think you're precisely correct. And so you are also correct, though, in focusing on the victims. So if you look at, for instance, fentanyl, if you look, for instance, at the country of Canada, Canada has lost more of its citizens to fentanyl than they lost in World War II. And Canada lost more citizens on a per capita basis in World War II than the United States did. And so if you now apply the numerical data to the United States is losing tens of thousands of Americans. And so we are, in some sense, at war with these criminal gangs, and the president is trying to address it.